Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will discuss a marriage that seems more like a man living with a roommate. This woman does nothing for him. She doesn't cook, clean, or do laundry. The man pays for all her expenses. We invite you to smash that like button, support the movement, and subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your 2 cents to the movement, share your experiences in the comments for any man who needs it. Without further introduction, let's get started.
Don't be fooled. This man was very intentional about the wording he chose here. On the very first slide, he says a stay-at-home wife will save you $140,000 a year. And he's speaking to men. He's reminding them that if they can get their wife to leave the workforce and stay home with children, they can save money. Because what often happens when a woman stays at home and parents children full-time is that she loses access to her financial freedom. She loses access to her career and future earning potentials. She no longer has the retirement account she would have had. She loses out financially and he gains. Men gain when they have a partner who stays at home. And so he is speaking to men. He has tried to disguise this as some empowering message to stay-at-home moms, reminding them that they're so important, and they are. Here's the thing. I support any parent who wants to stay at home with their children, but it does not come without risk. And it's very important to remember that there is value in what that person does. There's value in that work, and they should be compensated for that work. Money should be going into their retirement account. Money should be going into their bank account. They should be compensated for that work because it is incredibly valuable. But instead, he is saying, hey, dads, if you can get your wife to stay at home, you can keep that money. It's better for you financially to have a wife who stays at home. And he was strategic. He said stay-at-home wife, and then he pretends to be talking to parents on the next slide. But we all know who he's talking about. He's talking about men saving money and women staying at home and taking on that unpaid labor herself.
What this woman is saying is pure nonsense. I'm going to ask every man, whether he has a sister, wife, or female friends, if any unmarried woman is a millionaire or earns $140,000 a year, because only about 15%, maybe I'm exaggerating, earn that much annually. You know, all those expenses aren't accurate because most men don't spend that much in a year when they don't have a woman. On the contrary, if they earn that amount, I assure you they wouldn't want to get married. Another thing is that she keeps saying that housewives are like unpaid slaves. But let me tell you something. How many women today who haven't married are millionaires? Most of the world's richest women are so because of divorce. How many haven't depended on their husbands, as you say, but depend on a salary? When they are fired, they have nothing. At least if you leave a man, you get half of the money he supposedly saved. You can keep the house or half of it. You get children. You get child support, which is sometimes more money than what they earned working. You get alimony. But of course, she was a slave when she was a housewife. When she wasn't, she was apparently a millionaire businesswoman, when most are just barely secretaries.
A few weeks ago, I said I don't do my husband's laundry, and a lot of people are saying, whoa, 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 those are small acts of kindness. Why wouldn't you want to do that for your partner? But here's the thing. Small acts of kindness that are mostly domestic labor just add up to work at the end of the day. So here's a list of things that I don't do for my husband. You all know, I don't do his laundry. He can do that himself. I do my laundry, and we do the kids' laundry, but he does his own. I don't cook dinner. He cooks dinner every single night. I do breakfast and lunch for us and our kids. I don't pack him a lunch. If he's hungry, he'll figure out what he's going to eat for lunch the same way that I do. I don't make his doctor's appointments because guess what? He's not making mine. Would it be kind of me to do that? For sure. Is it my job? Absolutely not. I want him to be healthy, but he's a grown-ass man and he can book his own appointments, right? There's a lot of things that I don't do for my husband. I don't schedule his haircuts. I don't pack his clothes for vacation. Right? I don't do those things. I don't buy him new underwear when it's got holes in it. All of those are things that he's a grown man and he can do himself. Can I do small acts of kindness for him? Of course I can. And I do. I see a vinyl that I think he's going to like because he's creating a vinyl collection. I buy it. I'm at the store and I see something that I think he might enjoy eating. I buy it. I find a new non-alcoholic beer that he wants to try out. I buy it. Right? Those are small acts of kindness. Doing his laundry, cooking him dinner, making him lunch, booking his doctor's appointments, all those things, that's domestic labor. Those are chores. Those are not acts of kindness. Do I do them occasionally when he's working a lot? Of course. Do I cook dinner sometimes when he's had a really long day? Of course. But me not doing that does not mean that I don't show him love or kindness. They're different things. It is not my job as a wife, it is not in my job description to do all the domestic labor as small acts of kindness to my partner and receive nothing in return. I agree with this commenter. If it's going both ways, fantastic. But oftentimes, domestic labor, especially when you have children, adds up. And so, no, I am not my husband's personal secretary or his personal assistant. I am none of those things. I am his partner, I am his equal, and I do not have to do things to cater to him and serve him at all times to be kind and loving for him.
Hell to the no, no, no. Hell no.
Brother, I hope this video reaches that man, but he'd be better off getting a divorce. If he got married for this, I'd rather stay single. This is what happens when you marry a feminist woman with masculine energy. You feel like you have a brother at home instead of a wife. The irony here is that she is a stay-at-home woman. Maybe she has a job, maybe not, but I bet the man pays the mortgage, buys her vehicle, and takes care of it if it breaks down. I bet he pays for the electricity, gas, water, and internet, buys the food, and gives money to her and the kids, besides the children's expenses. Yet this woman doesn't cook for him, doesn't do his laundry, can't schedule a doctor's appointment, and there's even more she claims not to do. But why did you get married, brother? It would be cheaper to pay child support and not have to take care of her. I don't believe in divorce, but in this case, I definitely consider it. And I bet if she divorces him, she'll want half of everything, claiming she was a stay-at-home wife and wants alimony. That's why I always recommend living together for a while before getting married to know what to expect. Because this man better pray he doesn't get sick, because you know this woman will leave him and he'll be left in a dire situation.
Question for ladies. If you ran into your 18-year-old self and you could only say 3 words only, what would you say?
If you go back to this video, you will see that there's an overwhelming amount of comments that say, don't get married. And not everybody elaborates on why, but we can make a lot of assumptions based on what we know to be true about marriage. We know that women do the bulk of the domestic labor. They're doing the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry. They're scheduling appointments for home repairs. They are the person scheduling the doctor's appointments, buying gifts for their in-laws. They are doing the bulk of the domestic labor. And these women are now in the workforce. 50% of the workforce is women. Most homes are dual income homes. And these women are making as much, if not more than their male counterparts oftentimes, and still doing the bulk of the domestic labor. And if you add children to the mix here, women tend to become the default parent very quickly. They're the person doing all of the overnight feedings with their kids. They're the person arranging childcare. They are thinking about their school forms. They're filling out their paperwork. They're filling their lunch boxes. They know what their favorite snacks are. They are the person who is the default for everything that comes to their kids, and they become the default when it comes to caretaking, the actual time it takes to care for a child. So not only are they working full-time, but they're working full-time, doing the domestic labor and doing all of the caretaking. And then when they have the audacity to ask their partner to show up in a more equitable way, a lot of men will say no. They are not willing or able to do that. They don't want to be that active of a parent. They wanted their job to be of a provider. And so when these women ask for more and they don't get it, they choose to opt out. Over 70% of divorces are initiated by women. More and more women are choosing not to get married. And I say this as a woman who is happily married right now. Marriage can be very difficult if you fall into these norms, if you fall into these patterns of the woman doing the bulk of the domestic labor and the caretaking while also working full time, because it's just unsustainable. And it does not have to be like that. You can put the work in, and if you have a willing and able partner, it does not have to look like that. But if I had gone into marriage at 26 years old knowing that we were going to fall into these patterns, I don't know if I would have raised my hand to do it. I would have wanted to do the work then. I would have wanted to make the changes then. I would have wanted to lay out the proper path for us to be successful, because without it, it's not much fun. It is not much fun to feel like, as a woman, that you are the person who is in charge of everybody's happiness and well-being at all times, and that there's nobody thinking of you. And that is why I can assume most of these women are saying, don't get married.
Now ask most men the same thing, and they'll tell you not to get married either. The only difference is that men don't initiate 70% of divorces. Another difference is that men aren't rewarded for leaving a marriage, because if they were, I assure you most men would get divorced. I know women handle some tasks, but remember that you are the one who builds your home. Do you know how many women just complain and complain but don't put anything into practice? Men do well when we are given direction. How hard is it to say, you need to take out the trash, pick up the kids, schedule some tasks? The issue is that they don't like doing anything for the man. So when the man becomes independent at home, doing his tasks and taking care of the kids, they get upset because he doesn't spend time with her or share his feelings. Or they leave you for being too feminine. Brothers, this is a game where no matter what a man does, it's never enough.
A stay-at-home mom is not a 24/7 personal assistant and maid. She is somebody who stays at home and her primary job is to care for the children, not to do the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, and anything that has to do with the inside of the house. That is not what a stay-at-home mother's job is to do. You leave the house for 40, 50 hours a week for work, and during those 40 or 50 hours, her job is to take care of the children and do what she can. Maybe that means cooking lunches. Maybe that means the kids' laundry. But if you would not ask a nanny to do it, you should not be asking your wife to do it as well. Being a stay-at-home mother does not by default make somebody the catch-all for everything that has to do with the home and the children. That is far too much work for any one person to do, which is why when you have two working parents, you have a nanny and a housekeeper and a dog walker and all of these things that you outsource to, because it is not possible for one person to do all of these things, right? Especially while caring for children, and especially if you have children of multiple ages, because you were doing pickups and drop-offs and activities and doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and calls with the teachers. There are a million things to do every single day when you have small children that have nothing to do with the domestic labor. Being a stay-at-home mom in title means that they are a mother first during those hours, and they are doing anything outside of that with the time that they can. It does not mean that everything at home ultimately becomes their responsibility. I need other stay-at-home moms to weigh in on this, because I am not one, but I feel so passionately that it is not a stay-at-home mom's job to do everything.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
But a man's job, I assure you, is to pay for everything for her while she's suffering taking care of the kids. Oh, right, the kids don't go to school full-time, right? The father is the one who takes them. But she spends all day taking care of the kids. Of course, the kid only gets home at dinner time, but she spends all day sitting around because she doesn't clean anything, since that's considered domestic work and she's in charge of the kids. God, living with this woman must be hell. I imagine how stressed this man must be. If he starts watching videos of traditional women, I bet he would divorce her, because she does almost nothing. Oh, but if she gets sick, you'll see how she'll say that the man should cook for her, take care of her, look after the kids, walk the dog, and pay for her doctor and medicines, because that's what a man does. Then they wonder why men don't get married, why men avoid marriage. They tell us that nonsense about men living longer when married. This man is simply a slave to this woman. In that house, I wonder who wears the pants. No wonder she has a happy marriage if she just spends her time making TikToks.
I think one of the big differences between men and women, especially when they are parents, is that men typically will continue to center themselves as opposed to the greater family, whereas women are expected to put everybody above themselves, right? I was talking to this woman and she was telling me about how she's been trying to get back into shape after having kids, and so she's been working out at 5 a.m. She gets up at 4:45, she works out, and she is home before any of the kids are awake. And she's really been trying to work on her health. And her husband recently said, wow, like, you've really inspired me. I too want to start working out. I'm going to start working out every day after work at 5:30 to 7, which is the middle of bedtime and dinner. Meaning, he will be leaving to work out during the prime caretaking hours of the day, and she will be left alone to do that. And so he has chosen to prioritize himself in a way that totally ignores the needs of the rest of the family. Whereas she prioritized the family above herself and is waking up at an astronomical hour during the day to get a workout in. And this is often the difference between how men and women will parent. And it's because oftentimes men have been taught just in life to prioritize and center themselves in the conversation. When I say things like, I don't do my husband's laundry, oftentimes people will leave comments and they'll say, her husband must hate her. But they are never worried about whether or not I hate or resent him, that I might feel resentful for doing the laundry. They expect him to hate me for asking him to do it, but they're not worried about my happiness. And this is incredibly common. Women are often expected to place everybody else's happiness above their own. And nobody is wondering whether or not they're happy, because that's not of concern. It doesn't matter to them. And that, I think, is the problem that is existing in a lot of relationships right now is that there's this resentment between couples because men are expecting people to prioritize them and their happiness. They prioritize their own happiness, and they're not worried about whether or not she is happy or thriving or getting time for herself. And so now that more and more women are saying, no, thank you, I am going to prioritize myself, they're getting mad. They're getting frustrated. They're not sure what's happening. But at the end of the day, I know, as a woman and a wife and a mother, the reason that I prioritize myself is because I don't want to dislike my partner. I don't want to feel resentment. I don't want to hate him. I don't want to look back in 30 years and go, wow, I wasted my life serving somebody who didn't see me. And so instead of that, I have a partner who sees me and I see him, and we support one another. It is mutually beneficial. We respect each other. We care about each other. We want each other to be happy and healthy and thriving. And so we make space and time for each other with our family's best interest in mind. And so if you're struggling with this, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that these are things that are ingrained in how we view ourselves within our relationships and in homes. And it takes a lot of work to break out of that. But once you do, I swear, it's so much better.
It might be better for her, but I doubt it's better for him. According to her, men only prioritize themselves. Have you ever noticed that women want appreciation for everything? It's so much so that when a man wins an award, the first thing he does is thank his woman. Do you see the same when a woman wins something? But men only look out for themselves. Do you know how many men have received praise for supporting a family for 40 years? Sometimes no one says thank you, not even his wife or children. He provides a roof over their heads, takes care of all the services, sometimes even working overtime so the family lacks nothing, and pays for their university. But does anyone thank him? Do you see a woman doing tasks for him, going to work for him? For her, it's okay if he works, then comes home and continues working. But of course, her husband does that, and when he gets home, he also has to make his dinner, wash his clothes, take care of the kids, and be attentive to their needs. He can't have time for himself because that would be prioritizing himself. But she, who doesn't work or bring in money, only does tasks related to herself, and that's not prioritizing herself? Honestly, I'd rather live alone, pay child support, which would be more economical. It would be the same, and who knows, you might even marry a better woman. Because this, to me, isn't a marriage. It's working for someone else's benefit.
He is who he's going to be, and he showed it to you. Here's another thing I heard a lady say. Don't let a man have to tell you twice he don't want you.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see several women who claim to have survived a narcissistic or abusive man. We will also hear from a woman who says that women who remarry after a divorce end up getting divorced again 75% of the time. We want to invite you to smash that like button, support the movement, and subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement, share your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. And without further introduction, let's get started.
Get divorced, the abuse does not stop. It doesn't stop. If anything, it probably gets worse. It's still so worth it to get out, though. You have to get out. You're not waving a magic wand and everything is going to get better.
If you think divorce is the end of the narcissistic relationship, you are wrong, because it gets worse from that point onwards. Let me explain how. Divorce means many things in this context. Divorce means unmasking of the narcissist. Divorce means biggest narcissistic injury ever. Divorce could also mean exposure of the narcissist. If all of this happens in combination, what could you expect from a narcissist? If they abused you without all of this happening throughout the relationship, what are they going to do from now on? In truth and reality, they become worse, which is why post-narcissistic abuse or post-divorce narcissistic abuse is a real thing. They try to defeat you in the court. They try to take away everything in whatever way they can. They try to alienate you from your children. They try to smear campaign and destroy your reputation. They try to isolate you further because they can't control you directly anymore.
This man is defining the woman, right? Because she is the only one who, even after divorcing you, still destroys you emotionally, ruins you financially, takes your children, sets visitation dates, or demands child support, and even takes your house. The woman keeps abusing the man more and more. There are men who leave a woman, and she makes his life a living hell, especially if they had children, talking bad about him, making up stories where she is always the victim. Because let me tell you something, if a man is such an abuser, so bad, why do you keep talking about him? Why do you keep getting involved in his life? Why do you keep trying to find out what's going on with him? Didn't you want to close the chapter with him? Didn't you want to get away from the abuser? There are men who have restraining orders today because a woman wanted to keep their house and made a false accusation. In an accusation, even if the woman is hitting you or trying to hurt you, guess who gets arrested? The man, because he has to be the guilty one. As women say, he must have done something, because they believe it's so hard for men to reestablish themselves after a divorce due to the pain of losing everything, and they still blackmail you emotionally with your children. Even when you pay the established amount, they demand more money just so you can see them once a week for a few hours. But of course, the man is the narcissistic abuser, right?
This is how your marriage ends. No, I'm not being dramatic, I'm being serious. It's not the grandiose events that you think, like cheating or infidelity. It is the millions of little paper cuts like this that add up to leave a giant, gaping, bleeding wound. Because see, she's asked multiple times now for his help, and he has made a conscious decision not to. And when you make that conscious decision over and over and over again, every little time, that erodes trust. Trust that she can't believe that you will be there to help her when she asks. And every time that little bit of trust is eroded, there's less and less trust and feelings of safety in the marriage. And don't get hung up on the word safety, because I'm not talking about physical safety. I'm talking about emotional and mental safety. The shit that actually matters. See, I've been listening to and reading the book, This Is How Your Marriage Ends, which I highly recommend to every male, female, person, human being walking on this earth that wants to have a relationship of any type. And this is what it's about. It's about not being considered in the everyday decisions. Or it's like this, when you're being considered and then deciding still, no, I don't want to do that. And while it may not seem like a big deal to you, her getting upset about the laundry, you might think that it's minuscule in that she is making a big deal out of nothing for no reason to ruin your day entirely instead of just letting it go. But I know this is going to be a wild concept for some of you, but some people feel things differently than you. And every time you invalidate their feelings about the importance of an experience that they're having, like this, it erodes your relationship. Every time you invalidate them, you minimize their feelings, because instead of trying to understand or trying to empathize with them about the experience that they're having, you're so worried about being right, you don't give a shit about the person that you're supposed to love most in this world and how they're feeling about the experience. Instead, you're too worried about how you feel in the situation. So this is the kind of shit that I see on this app that ends a marriage. It is the dishes left by the sink instead of being put away. It's the clothes left by the hamper instead of being put in them. It's the unfolded laundry not being put away. It's the little things, it's the little acts of invalidation and inconsideration that add up over time that end the marriage. And then men are left going, oh, I never saw this coming. I never cheated. I never did drugs. I wasn't abusive. It's this.
What? Oh my God!
They know that women don't mind cleaning. What bothers them is doing it for the man. They can do it for their children, but they don't want to do it for the man. Here is where you wonder if women ever accompany men to work, because I assure you, many claim to be the cleanest women, when today there are women who are filthier than men when it comes to cleanliness. But here's the thing, wanting to have something to complain about. If you are a man who takes care of this, I assure you that the complaint will then be about money. If you try to bring in more money, then the complaint will be about not spending enough time together. If you spend a lot of time with her, the The complaint is that you don't give her space and she feels tired of you. How do we do it? If there is little money, it's financial abuse. If she does the cleaning, then you treat her like your maid. If you are the one doing the household chores, they hate you because you are a feminine man, and they don't feel attracted to you. If you focus on growing the family, then you neglect her because you are not loving enough. There is no way to win, because it is her personal dissatisfaction, her self-hatred, wanting to take it out on the man.
When I left my husband after a 22-year marriage and being with him for 25 years, the first phone call I made the next day was call my psychologist. And I remember I said to her, I said, Naomi, one of the things that I want to work on is what was my part in this breakup? And more importantly, what can I do to fix myself? Because I don't want to attract the same kind of man. I mean, after all, second marriages, the divorce rate is at 75%. So the reason that occurs is because people, when they get a divorce, they don't change. They think the problem is him, and therefore they end up attracting the same kind of person. They may look different, they may act different, they may be different, but inside they're the same. And that's why the second divorce rate is 75% higher. And I made sure that that wasn't going to be me in that statistic. So know thyself.
Finally, a woman who acknowledges her fault. This is being a mature person, recognizing that you are part of the problem. I won't defend all men and say they had no fault in reaching divorce. Nowadays, men are more collaborative in saving their marriage than women, which is why women file for 80% of divorces and are the ones who cheat the most in relationships. As she says, there is a 75% chance that her second marriage will end in divorce. If the man is the abuser, the narcissist, the one who made your life impossible, why is that statistic so high if you are with a new man? Why aren't you super happy if the abuser is no longer in the equation? Maybe, just maybe, the reason your marriage failed could have been you. Because the strange thing here is that men, even when they divorce, are financially ruined, lose their children, and are emotionally destroyed. When they find another woman and marry again, they tend to have happy marriages, tend to be better husbands, tend to want to generate less drama, are calmer. Do you know why? It's because men learn from their mistakes, know from experience what to do and what not to do, and above all, never choose the same type of woman again. We mature and understand that after 35, we value our peace the most. If a woman doesn't bring us peace, we discard her immediately. But women don't. Even after leaving you and having another man, they still blame their narcissistic, abusive ex-partner when they are no longer with him. That is called being immature. If you doubt it, watch the following video.
There's a very specific fear that is involved in leaving that only those of us who have gone through it understand. I endured extreme physical abuse, verbal and emotional as well. Leaving isn't something you do when you get in a fight and you go, I'm leaving, or we're done. It doesn't work like that in these types of situations. We're not afraid that they're going to get mad at us. We're actually terrified that they are going to physically harm or take our lives or the lives of people that we love when we leave. You actually have to plan and prepare to leave. And you have to hide money, and you have to be really smart about the way you leave, because it could cost you your life or your children's lives. I get really emotional talking about this because no matter how much healing you do, no matter how much time you spend away from them, there's a very specific fear that is involved in leaving that only those of us who have gone through it understand. Once we leave, there is no going back. And many of us find ourselves on special programs to keep us hidden from them finding us. And we just feel like we're on the run for the rest of our lives. If you are one of those people in that circumstance, Sign up for my texts and text me so that I can let you know what I did and how I got out. And I love you.
Do you know why I don't believe any of this? Because women are the ultimate manipulators. All those motivational coaches always start with a survival story, and then they tell you with tears in their eyes, when you send them a message about this problem, how they escaped, how they will guide you to escape too, to save you from your abuser. But remember, salvation isn't free. No one here is playing Superman, so pay your salvation fee. We saw the same thing with another single mother who claimed her life was in danger when she was the one going in and out of jail. We also saw it with another single mother crying in her kitchen until her ex-husband proved it was all a lie just for her to start a foundation that helped no one but her own pocket. Here we have a modern woman, a single mother who escaped her abuser, but miraculously, she has a solution for you to escape too. Of course, without being a psychologist or anything, just with life experience. What this achieves is that a group of women will label a man without proof, without listening to his side of the story, as a villain. It generates widespread hatred against this man, and he might even receive threats from strangers who want to help her by harming him. Because she is a single mother, she must be the victim, and the man the abuser. But look how well her life is going after escaping the bad man in the next video.
For every single person that's asking themselves, why is this so hard? If you're not in the arena of life, getting your ass kicked on a perpetual basis, then you're not doing it right. Nothing about healing, going after what you love, daring to dream is supposed to be an easy task. Life is literally going to throw every single unforeseen and foreseen obstacle in our way. Not just to test how bad we want it, but also as an opportunity for us to see what we're made of. If you look back on the span of your life, every single big win you've had, I can guarantee you that 95% of the time, you felt underqualified, you felt like there's no chance in hell. All of these people out here on social media making it look easy, that's all ego. They're not showing you the nights or the 3, 4 a.m. mornings when they're on their knees, sobbing their eyes out because they feel like it's too much. Stop undervaluing and underselling yourself. Stop coming up with excuses why you can't make it happen, why someone else is better suited for the job. There is only one you in the whole world. And only you have what no one else in the world is supposed to give. Go out there and do shit your way. Fall on your face. Bang your knees up. We all mess up. Stop expecting to be happy all the time. Happy is an emotion. They're fleeting. Motivation is also very much an emotion because it's fleeting. Discipline is what you need to be focusing on. Instead of spending all this time comparing yourself to everyone else, why don't you focus on becoming the best version of you? Just go out there and figure out what it means to do the damn thing your own damn way. This whole imposter syndrome thing, that's a pre-qualification to success. Find me one successful person who didn't battle this. None of us think we have what it takes. The only people who ever make it are the ones who keep going anyways.
Run, bitch! Run!
Brothers, there is a saying that narrative is the best friend of a lie. You can tell a lie, but if you tell a good story to make it believable, it works. Look at these women's tears, some message to the girl with you, crying, and recounting how you survived that hell with that man, how you saved yourself. You can then become a life coach survivor. Of course, because now you can monetize having left Chad, the man she got pregnant by, the man she chose. Now she has a cause to monetize, telling you that horror story, with some tears here and there, 2 videos with sad music, a moving message, a final message saying, "Write to me if you are going through this. I have the magic formula to solve it." Of course, charging for it because it's not free. She could say go to the police, show proof to get a restraining order, send them to a professional psychologist. But no, those people don't know, because she is the coach with life experience. She has that book, that trick to get out of there, that group of women who went through it, those motivational words, that foundation that puts money in her pocket. Because brothers, salvation is not free. But honestly, how do people send money to this kind of marketing garbage?
Girls be like, I like him. Why can't he make the first move? Why don't you make the first move?
Yeah, I've been saying this all along, and I know you'll be thinking, well, if he's really interested in me, then surely he would make the first move. Or maybe he thinks you're in a relationship, or maybe he thinks you're out of his league, or maybe he's just a good guy who doesn't have the confidence to approach women. There are many reasons why a guy won't make the first move, so don't assume it's because he's not interested or that you'll somehow become the pursuer if you start a conversation, because it's not true.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we will see how women cry about turning 30 without a partner. We will discuss how women keep demanding more from men while offering so little, and how they have earned their singleness by playing with men's good intentions. We want to invite you to smash that like button and support the movement. Subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Share your experiences in the comments for any man who might need it. Without further ado, let's get started.
Why don't guys want relationships anymore?
Because why invest in something that's going to hurt? You see, I don't think this is a gender bias thing. I think in general, less and less people are interested in relationships because why do you need them? You have the chance to hook up with somebody with a swipe on an app. Fill that little void of missing affection and then go back to your life with no strings attached. I know guys will say that every girl's the same and no girl wants a nice guy. And girls will say that no guy wants a relationship, all they want to do is hook up. And I think the common thing here is that everyone's saying how they feel instead of living the life and actually feeling it. We go hunting on our phones for somebody to love, but we don't actually want to be loved. We'd rather just have a story to tell. So the issue isn't that men don't want relationships, but yet the majority is just not ready, and they rather just be stuck people watching.
Only 20% of men are getting any action with women. The other 80% are invisible to them. Women go out with that 20% knowing they won't get a relationship, yet they still give everything to that man, their best fertility and youth. So, the men in the 80% who get nothing have to start building themselves up, which is a hard process. As soon as these men start getting noticed by women who want to settle down, they want to apply their so-called standards to him. These standards mostly benefit the woman, often monetarily, and are ignored when it comes to Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table but his seed. Yet these standards are then imposed on the beta provider. So, tell me if you think it's fair that you, who have built yourself up, have to give your best version to a woman who isn't giving you her best version because she already gave it for free to several Chads. Do you find that fair? On top of that, she wants to give it to you with conditions because she has changed and now has standards. These standards were broken for the man she felt a great interest in, but from you, she wants effort, time, and money because you are to be the husband, not the fun guy. And then they wonder why they are alone.
Everyone always says it's gonna be okay, but no one really knows that. That's just what you say. I just feel like it's a little bit unfair. I'm so over waiting. Like, when is it gonna be my turn?
We're definitely privileged that we can say, I'm sick of waiting. When is it gonna be my turn? Because the reality is, for a lot of us ladies, we don't have to do anything. We just live our lives, and that cute guy at the grocery store approaches us, or someone messages us on social media, or a bunch of men message us on dating apps. And eventually we find a person that we really like. I mean, if we're being reasonable with our expectations, let's be real here. But with men, that's not the case. They can't wait. They have to take action all the time. They have to be rejected over and over again before they find someone with a lot of potential. I think it's important to keep in mind as a lady, when you're getting upset about that you don't have to sit and wait. You can go out and start taking action. You see that cute guy who's bowling out with his bros, just go talk to him. Or if you're shy, you're nervous, write your number on a piece of paper and go give it to him, walk away. Say, hey, you're cute, walk away. It's so easy.
Women fear rejection. They are afraid that the man they are interested in will outright say no. But women have it so easy, brothers. Women have men writing to them on Tinder and all the other dating apps, even if they are not attractive. Women also have social media where men comment and send messages to their inbox. This clearly shows that women have options, and for many years, until they turn 30. Now, as they say, I know myself, I know what I want. Now they want to reserve themselves because they have already lived and had fun, and now they feel entitled to a good provider man. And this is what we men do not want. We do not want you to choose us when your pool of candidates is empty. We are not financial lifelines. We are not your retirement insurance. They put many standards on us, and all we will get in the end is a woman that Chad didn't have to make an effort for, but we have to go out of our way for. Men are tired. We are no longer there for you. You have to make the effort and take the first step. The era of the soft boy has arrived. Drizzle, drizzle.
When a guy doesn't make firm plans for a date, text this. Hey, I just wanted to confirm about this week. Would you still like to get together?
And then once he's at the date, just make sure to remind him to call you the next time. And then make sure next time to remind him of the following date. And then when you've been dating for a while, make sure to remind him to get exclusive with you. Be like, do you want to be exclusive? This is your reminder. And then when you've been dating for a while, be like, so when is the wedding? And make sure to always just track where he goes, and because you know he could just run away, so you've got to always just stay on top of it. It's like admin, you know, it's like admin. It's like herding a cat. You just really got to stay on top of it. Or if a guy doesn't text you and make plans with someone else, or with yourself, or with a girlfriend. Because if you start that business of, I don't know, did you still want to get together? You're going to be doing that for the rest of your life. And even if you herd him into being your husband, you're going to be writing to me, why does he not make any plans? And why is he not interested in me? Trust me.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no.
These are the tips that end up making women cry later. How hard is it for women to bring something to a relationship? Many women talk about contributing their feminine energy or their presence. The only thing I agree with is that they do provide their presence. They are just there to receive. These dating coaches tell them that they shouldn't put in any effort. They are just there to receive. Because a woman who takes the liberty to confirm if the date is still on is acting like a secretary, according to these women. The man will never make any plans. But let me ask you, if you want a relationship with someone, couldn't you be the one who plans experiences, who talks about going to good restaurants, exotic places, or organizing family trips? Because if the man already has to pay, why can't you be the one who plans? Why not take that burden off the man? Of course, because that's something the man has to do. So when he takes you somewhere, with your only contribution being your presence, and he takes you to a place you don't like, you start complaining, saying, not this place, and end up ruining the whole experience. This could have been resolved by simply choosing a nice place where you feel comfortable, but since she doesn't want to put in any effort because the man has to do everything.
There was a study done in the 90s, and what they found out, I think, still holds true today. So what they did is they took a group of men and they took a group of women and they categorized these men. So it was like high status, t-shirt, McDonald's. Same thing with the women. High status, t-shirt, McDonald's. And then they asked, you know, the men, okay, would you go to coffee with this person, go on a date, marry? And in all three categories, the guy didn't care. He's like, yes, sure, whatever. With women, it was a whole different story. Women went to the high status man for the majority of them. So that was for coffee, date, marriage. My takeaway on this is just goes along with the trends I've been seeing. So we are in this Kardashian culture and have been for, 10 years. I don't know how long they've been on. But this idea of perfection has just been kind of unseen before. I mean, before we had magazines, we knew they were kind of airbrushed, but what we see now, women are doing eyebrows, microblading, dermaplaning, eyelash extensions, hair extensions, lip fillers, cheek fillers, breast implants, butt implants, fat transfer, taking ribs out. I mean, literally women are taking their ribs out. So I think just the pressure and the unattainable beauty that they put on themselves, they're also putting that sort of unattainable image and desire on a guy as well. And that's why these guys are backing out, because guys know, like, that's crazy. Like, we can't do all that. Like, some can. I mean, it's the small minority can do that. But for the majority of men, they're not going to be able to get to your high standards that you not only put on yourself, but you're putting on these men too. And I don't even know if women are aware that they're doing that. And if you think about it, it's really a beautiful thing that men will just kind of take you as you are. Like, they don't need you to be high status, or they don't care where you work. If you work at McDonald's or you're making six figures and some executive of a company. But look at what we're doing to men. We want them to just be everything. It's unattainable. They're getting out of the market, and rightfully so. So I even asked my brother about this. I said, hey, is this true? Like, men don't care? He's like, 1,000%. Men could give two shits. And I was like, that's going to be a topic then. So anyways, guys, follow for more. Comment below what you think, or, you know, even ask your friends, talk about their experience, and like leave it in the comments, because I think we're onto something.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Women are hypergamous and men are not. This is for simple reasons. Men know that the only things women will offer are their natural beauty and companionship, which is what men really seek, because they know they won't get money from women. Men understand that their role is to be the provider who takes care of the family and wants a woman who brings feminine energy and builds a home. But women want economic security, good genes from the man, and certain masculine traits. That's why only 20% of men who meet these requirements enjoy the company of more women, while others who lack one or all of these traits are left alone. Yet, women keep demanding more. This has changed with social media. Now women want to pass on the cost of their physical upkeep or high aesthetic treatments to the man. Why is this? It's to remain competitive in the dating market. Why do you think that 75% of men who have financed a woman's surgery lose her? Because as soon as her beauty increases, she can access better positioned men than you. Since hypergamy doesn't forgive, she will leave you. That's why men don't like this type of high-maintenance women, because besides being beautiful, they are high-maintenance women. All those operations and treatments need to be maintained. They are like living in a rented apartment. It will be yours as long as you pay, but the day you fall behind, she will replace you with another man who can cover the costs.
If a guy isn't making plans with you, he's not taking initiative to plan dates or to see you again, and maybe you guys have been texting for a while and the conversations are fine, you think he's interested, but you're wondering, okay, when am I going to see him again? Why isn't he asking me when I'm available? Make sure you stick around till the end where I give you an exact text to send him. Do not for any reason ask him, when am I going to see you again? Or, hey, just checking in to see if you still want to see me next weekend. No, do not ever ask him that. First of all, there's something that you need to understand, and this is going to hurt your feelings, but you need to hear me, okay? If a man isn't making plans to see you, he isn't that into you. If he's still maintaining contact, that means he's keeping you as an option. He's keeping you on the bench for whenever he decides he wants to maybe see you. But what a lot of women don't realize is that we still have the power. You have the power. It is up to you whether or not you allow him to treat you like an option. Because the reality is, no man is too busy to see you or to make plans with you. If he's interested, he's going to make plans to see you. But listen, I've been there, and I know it can feel a little difficult to kind of take your power back and to feel like you're in control of your emotions and the situation. And this is exactly what you're gonna do. And oftentimes, whenever you make this shift, it makes him want you again, which is absolutely insane, but it works every time. In order to stop obsessing over him or over why he isn't making plans with you or how to convince him to come back or whatever, instead of sitting around waiting for him to make plans with you, go make plans with someone else. Go hang out with your friends. Go book a Pilates class. Invest in yourself. If you insist on giving this guy a chance, this is what you're going to text him next time he texts you and he's like, hey, what's up? How's life? This is exactly what you're going to say. Oh my gosh, life's been amazing. I've been so busy. I'll have to tell you about it next time I see you or whenever I see you in person. You're welcome. Do not let him treat you like an option. You deserve so much better.
How nice it feels to have multiple options if he doesn't invite you or make plans with you while you make plans with someone else. These are the modern woman's tips. If the guy you like hasn't invited you out, go out with someone else in the meantime. Then they wonder why men are walking away from them. Imagine going out with someone, having a busy week where you couldn't invite her to meet up, but you stay in touch. Then you see the woman you have feelings for, who you like for something serious, going out with another man. You were busy that week. How would you feel as a man, seeing that she couldn't even wait a week before going out with her other options? This is the modern woman, who wants to have you but doesn't want to miss out on opportunities with other men while getting to know you. Then she wonders why men don't call her back or ghost her, because this man realizes she's not worth it. Remember, brothers, if she doesn't reciprocate your interest or you never see her investing in you, wanting to see you or planning a date, discard her because you're just another free dinner to her.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. A married man does not need female friends. He doesn't need to get female advice from other females. Married men should not be discussing their wife or their marriage or their issues with anyone of the opposite gender. It's a no for me.
Welcome to The Wall. Today, we will see how a woman gives us the 3 reasons why the divorce rate lost by women is at 80% and up to 90% if they are professionals. We will also see a woman saying that men are lazy when it comes to finalizing a divorce. We invite you to smash that like button, support the movement, and subscribe to the channel. That's the only contribution we ask of you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement, share your experiences in the comments for any man who might need it. And without further ado, let's get started.
Yeah. Unpopular opinion. A married man does not need.
She's 100% right. That is why I cheated on my ex-wife. I confided with another woman about my marital problems. And there's a lesson here for both men and women. Hear me out. First off, no one gets married to fail. And we all know communication is important in a marriage or any relationship. But you know what no one ever talks about? Listening. Listening is just as important, if not more important, because the other person feels, finally, I've been heard, and the other person understands. Now, ladies, when it comes to communication, you are at a level 10. Most men are at a 2, because no one in our entire lives ever taught us how to share our feelings. No one ever bothered to care to ask us. So that is why you'll see most men punch walls or yell, because there's so much emotion, we don't know how to translate that into words. So bear with us and be patient with your husband. Have this conversation early on in your marriage. Because when a man is trying to communicate with his wife a problem at home, he usually is retaliated. Well, what about me? What about me? You do this and this and that, we don't feel heard. And again, it goes both ways. I get that. So I tell people now, if you have problems like this at home, go to a marriage counselor, go see a therapist, don't confide to other people, especially family. That's a whole other problem. But just be patient with us, ladies. Listen to what we have to say. Because from the man's standpoint, he finally meets somebody who finally is just listening to him. It's not about sex. It's nothing about that she's younger. It's just somebody finally listened to him. Because his entire life, he's never had an audience. So just understand that from a man's perspective. I'm not condoning it, of course. I'm just sharing perspective so everybody can learn from this mistake. And again, she's 100% right. Do not confide your marital problems with anybody else outside your marriage.
A long time ago, I heard a video by Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, saying that a man shouldn't be opening up his feelings in front of a woman. I completely agree with this. If you show weakness to a woman who, from her most primitive state, desires a strong man, she loses respect and admiration for you. You also have to keep in mind that if you tell your weaknesses to someone who might exploit and abuse them against you tomorrow, you remain in a permanent state of weakness. Another thing is, you don't wash your dirty laundry outside your house. We always say that a woman's worst enemy is another woman. Women compete all the time. That's why you hear women say, I don't have friends. The woman who tells everything her husband does to her friend almost always loses him. But there are also men like this. I believe almost all men approach a woman with some intention, especially if she is their type. Some men use this as an excuse, but I'll tell you something. Never share your personal matters. There are fake friends who might be interested in your woman and are waiting to hear things from you. If you need help with something, see a private therapist so no one knows, make a private post on Reddit, ask ChatGPT, go to a priest and say, I have sinned, Father, to seek advice. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone close. I also agree that it shouldn't be family. There are other ways. Remember, nobody wants a weak man. Your moments of weakness don't have to be public among the group of people around you.
So 80 to 90% of all divorces are women leaving men. Unpack that for us. I looked up the research and it's 70% of women that are initiating divorce. Would you work at a company that only had a 30% retention rate for their employees? 70% of the employees are leaving the company? Would you think, oh man, these employees suck? Or would you think, what the hell's wrong with that employer that they can't keep any employees? So then I put my researcher cap on and I read a lot of articles from psychologists who are doing all this marriage counseling to see what's really going on. And hands down, the women are mad. They feel tricked. They get into this marriage thinking that they're going to have a partner and they're going to have support. And the three biggest reasons that women are walking away from marriage is number one, their partner isn't emotionally intelligent and doesn't know how to emotionally connect. So there's no actual friendship between the husband and the wife. Number two, the women are carrying all of the mental load and emotional labor for the entire family, and it's exhausting. And number three, they're just not accepting abuse anymore. And abuse is defined as someone who tries to control you, manipulate you, or neglect you. And the statistics show that 50% of women, once they get divorced, don't remarry. They're done. But 70% of men will remarry. Because studies also show that marriage is much more beneficial for men. They live longer and they're able to make more money in their jobs because someone's holding things down at the home fort. And marriage is not beneficial for women and tend to rely on women to do all of the household labor, to do all of the mental load of making doctor's appointments, purchasing the things for the house, doing the cooking, the cleaning, and that the women are carrying the emotional labor as well. Meaning they're always trying to initiate connection and help regulate everybody's emotions better. I'll also add that only 27% of women say that they regret getting a divorce, whereas 39% of men say they regret getting a divorce. So the institution just isn't working for women much anymore. And so much of that has to do with the fact that men are struggling to regulate their emotions, to be emotionally intelligent, and to know how to emotionally connect with a woman, especially around the area of having empathy. So that's my interpretation of the statistics. What's yours?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This is my interpretation. Women have trouble committing to something. We all know before getting married that women are the ones who least keep their word. They say one thing now, and minutes later, they change their minds. Another thing is that responsibility is like kryptonite to women, whether it be family or business. Why do you think women are rarely in high-stress positions? It's because they tend to get exhausted or break down. Why do you think there are so few female CEOs of large companies? They can't handle the travel, the long work hours, and the hormonal changes that can cause sudden mood swings. The pressure often leads them to need therapy or become depressed. That's why businesswomen are the ones who go to therapy the most. Women get married for a lifestyle, and some women struggle to move from the infatuation stage to the responsibility stage. What do I mean by this? When they are in the infatuation stage, it's all about trips, dates, and all the romantic things in a relationship where everything is rosy. The responsibility stage is about growing your family's economy, taking care of the kids, maintaining the house, and doing some chores. Don't buy into the story that all women do all the household tasks. Another thing is that women get bored more easily. As soon as monotony sets into the relationship, you hear them say, "I deserve to be happy." They want to leave because they want to return to the infatuation stage. Why do you think some women have such high body counts? It's because they never manage to get out of this infatuation stage. They don't want to mature until they find themselves at 35 or 40, and the pool of candidates has dried up.
Dating update, y'all. So last night I went out on a dinner date with the 4th separated but not legally divorced man this year. Let me tell you about it and how it ended. So I met this guy like 4 nights ago at Tao, but when I was by myself at the bar. And he's cool because whenever I decide I'm gonna go on a date with somebody or entertain them, it's because we somehow connect mentally. So we talking about like just different things, business and like being black because he's from the UK. So like, how is it different in the UK versus America? You know, we connected on that vibe. And he asked me to dinner and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll go to dinner with you. Sure. And look at me getting an accent now. But anyway, so we go to dinner and during conversation, he reveals that he too, like the previous guys, like Persuasion Bay, like Miami Bay, like the other Bay before I even started this Bay saga, that he also was separated but not legally divorced. And like for some reason or another, because there's always a variation of the same reason why guys do this, but I tried to explain to him my logic, and basically you need to free yourself. You need to free your wife. You need to free, because personally me, again, I speak a lot on like my marriage and divorce situation and experience, but I did not really reach my peak of like personal power until after I went through that divorce, because it really forces you to get out on your own and learn like, oh my gosh, like what am I capable of without this partner? So if you are still locked in, like bro, like your mentality, yeah, you might be fucking other people, but you're still like life partnering with this person legally. Like bro, stop playing. Like guys try to act like, no bro, stop playing. So anyway, he sent me this text today. Hey, it's funny because I probably won't hear from you again, but I've learned a lesson for sure. You're right, and I need to go through the process and be free. Filing for a divorce when I get back. Thank you. And because he said he's leaving, going back to the UK tomorrow. I'm like, oh crap. I said, I told you I like to cultivate relationships. I'm not going to ghost you, but in seriousness, I'm happy that you feel that way. Free yourself and live fully. See, I'm a good person. And then he said, yeah, definitely going to do that. Woke up this morning with a different outlook on it all. So thanks. I appreciate your honesty too. It's refreshing. If I didn't talk it out loud with you yesterday, I doubt that would have happened. Everyone's always told me the opposite. And then he left me a voice message, but I haven't listened to it yet. But it's just like, someone's got to say it. You got to free yourself. If that's not the, you know, if y'all not like polyamorous or polygamous or like that's not your flow, you need to be free so you can do what you want to do.
I agree with some things and disagree with others. Here's my personal point of view. I don't like getting into more problems. I prefer to solve the ones I already have. Now, why do I disagree with everything? Because life can be complicated. Maybe that man did his part in the relationship's grief, but you don't know how long this divorce is taking. Some divorces take 1 to 2 years because the woman is being difficult, or it's a strategy by the lawyer to make more money. I don't know, but life is unpredictable. Maybe this man has already taken time to heal, which for me is 3 months, to start fixing his life. Then life presents him with an opportunity with this wonderful woman. If you're not a Chad or the type who attracts many women, it's possible that if you let this opportunity pass because you're not yet divorced, it may never come again. Or when you return, this woman might be in a relationship. This man did nothing wrong. He put everything clearly on the table because he was interested. Why isn't honesty rewarded? He didn't deceive anyone. He told you what you were getting into. He also didn't ask you to get married. It could simply be dating. So, for me, he's a man of value because he was honest. But let's see the opinion of another woman.
Life partnering with this person legally. Like, bro, stop.
Go watch the whole video. It's a good video. She's basically talking about the contingent of men she keeps encountering and dating who are separated but not divorced. And how, you know, she's also been divorced herself, and she just like, it's always the same story she hears from them, but she's like, you are still legally partnering in your life with this person. Like, you got to do something about that. And I 100% agree with that point. But I just want to chime in with my experience and the opinion that I've formed on the basis of my experience, which is that there is a not insignificant contingent of men who are in this situation because they're lazy. They don't want to be in the partnership anymore. but they don't really want to do the work to get out of it, because getting out of a legal marriage is work. It's paperwork. It's paying other people. It's not fun. It's not fun for anyone. And you have to either be motivated to do it or just a responsible person. And I feel like the responsible person usually is a woman, because women are raised to be responsible. And with men, we don't raise them with anything except like reward incentives or like spontaneous felt desire. Men seem to have no sense of personal responsibility, no sense of responsibility to others. So they don't just do things out of a sense of obligation, out of a sense of responsibility. They only do things if they feel motivated, which is why we so often say, oh, men only are the ones filing for divorce and like doing the work of divorce when there's another woman in the picture. When they're motivated and that woman wants them to be free. And if you watch to the end of this video, you'll see maybe a little bit of that dynamic at play in the particular dating experience that she's talking about. But I think a lot of men are in this position just because they're lazy. They don't feel incentivized to do the hard work of getting their divorce, and they don't feel like it matters, and they don't want to do it, and they're lazy. So often, men just exit relationships just scot-free. Just absolutely no responsibility, no consequences, just no feeling about it whatsoever. They think it's easier for me to just abandon this than to actually undo it. And they're right. But do you know who that often leaves the work with? The woman. The woman.
So, men are lazy? Interesting. Let me see. A man is lazy about getting a divorce when the woman wants to leave the relationship but doesn't want to go empty-handed. So, this man is supposed to happily hand over all his assets to this woman? What nonsense. Do you know why divorces take so long? Because the man has to protect himself from the woman trying to take the house, half of his savings, the kids, high child support, alimony, part of his 401k. When you have to negotiate all that, of course the divorce will take time because he's trying to avoid being ruined. And now with the lawyers, do you know what happens to a man in family court when assets are divided and he doesn't have a lawyer? Going without a lawyer or not showing up is the same. They just throw the book at you. That's why he has to hire the best lawyer to have a chance of coming out okay, because she is coming for everything. How wouldn't a divorce take long when the lawyers are fighting to protect each one's interests? But of course, we are the lazy ones. And what about you? Gold diggers.
It's funny because it's true.
Can you believe she had a baby 7 days ago? Oh my god, you look great.
Can you believe I had a baby 7 days ago and I'm the one that's doing the laundry?
You look like shit. I take it back.
In the comment section, everyone's like, let her rest. And she's like, no, I felt good. I just wanted to get up and get some things done. I'm not saying this is the case here, but it's a really good example of why taking full responsibility for a task is really important. While she was resting, she was thinking about what things needed to get done, which is why she got up and started doing them in the first place. Either she was responsible for the laundry getting done, or the division of labor was not clear in the household. And when the division of labor is not clear in a household, it's on someone's mental load. In many cishet households, women are carrying more of the mental load. What that means is they are anticipating what needs to be done. They're using their mental space to navigate and engineer what needs to be done in what order in order for things to not fall apart. Which means that sitting idly by can cause more stress than just getting up and doing it. And so, yeah, sometimes even when someone's sick or recovering from giving birth, getting up and doing things can feel better than sitting on the couch. How do you care for someone who is recovering from a birth? You anticipate your family's needs and you take full responsibility of getting it done. Supporting your partner who just gave birth is not just saying, I'll get things done, tell me what you need help with around the house. It's taking full responsibility. Ahead of the birth, you can learn how to get things done. You can practice getting multiple things done and doing the mental load for yourself. Supporting your partner in their healing means being reliable and navigating the mental load so that they can truly rest. She said she was fine. I'm going to believe that she was fine, but there's a better way.
There are two things you should note. Number 1, misery loves company. Number 2, don't show your happiness on the internet. People are so selfish that they will throw their venom to ruin your relationship, like this single and divorced woman who is so bitter that she sees everything negatively. Why couldn't she think that this woman might have been lying down for 7 days, tired of it? Maybe her back hurt from being in bed so long. Maybe she saw her husband go to work, take time off to take care of her, do all the household chores, and she thought, let me get up and do this task to keep myself entertained. But, of course, even in this, the man is to blame, the patriarchal man forcing the poor woman to work 7 days after giving birth. It sounds nice as a misleading headline to defame men, but this serves as an example that a woman's worst enemy is another woman. They, as a couple, are laughing together, something healthy between partners. This venomous woman wants to create a problem where there is none and incites a group of women, the purple-haired brigade, to fill the video's comments with bad talk about her husband until she comes out defending him, saying she wanted to do it. That's why I always say, pay attention to who your woman is friends with and who talks to her, because there are always bitter women on the prowl, and misery loves company. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Why do you think a man starts looking for a partner as soon as he finalizes the divorce? What is the main reason, in your opinion, that women always ask for a divorce? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.